10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start the show.
Right now we are sitting down with my favorite Arkansas State University running back ball. We have a guy who's fought on Dana White's Contender Series, a guy who's a big-time name in MMA, a former Mr. Money in the Bank from WrestleMania 23, former WWE United States Champion, a former two-time TNA Heavyweight Champion, Mr. This guy directed Batman Heart of Ice on YouTube, an amazing fan film. Someone who was in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the Ultimate Fighter at one point. Helped run and promote Championship Wrestling of Arkansas for the little bit of time that it was around, as well as a professional wrestler from the early 90s. The guy is running Street Beefs Dirty South, a professional MMA fighter, and looking to make a debut sometime in the near future in bare knuckle boxing. We're the one and only Jason Voorhees, Mr. James Stokes himself. How's it going, James? Good to see you again.
You are now experiencing the Adam Talks Podcast Season 2.
Welcome to another great episode of the Adam Talks Podcast right here on whatever platform it is you're watching or listening to it on. Today we have an awesome episode. Very excited. This is a three-peat. This is the third time this guy's been on the show, and this time he actually asked me to come on. But before we get into any of those details, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. One real quick thing, doesn't take but just a couple seconds out of your day. If you're on YouTube, could you hit that subscribe button? And if you're on one of the other streaming platforms, that being Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, push that follow button. Drop a comment if you're so inclined, guys. It helps out so much. You have no idea. But today we have an awesome guest on. We got a guy who's been on, like I said, 3 times. This will be his 3rd time on the show. Very happy to have him on. The current reigning, defending, and only 2-time South Central Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion, Troy Twain, is coming on the show today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. We're going to have a ball. It's going to be great. And like I said, he has to come on the show. So without any further ado, I'm going to let you guys listen to the conversation, and we're going to get right into it. Here's my talk with Troy Twain.
I believe we have you on for the record 3 times, man, in the same, 2 times in the same season and 3 times total. I think you've been on the show more than anybody, man. So that's saying something right there. You actually, but we have Troy Twain on, and he actually messaged me, reached out, and he said, "Hey, man, I got to get some stuff off my chest whenever it came to these releases that happened in the WWE. Can I come on and give me this platform?" Definitely. So, man, you wanted to talk about it? Go right ahead.
So, yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing me back in for this particular moment and this particular subject, because I think, like, what I'm about to talk about is something I guess you can say is from a wrestling and a fan standpoint. But I think it was last month or 2, WWE decided to release a couple more people. And some interesting people that I've noticed were people of the likes of Cameron Grimes, Zion Quinn, I think Zia Lee, and the most shocking one, Jinder Mahal. And when you look at that, it just doesn't make sense. But if you really think about it, Jinder Mahal literally just did a little short program with The Rock on day 1, coming out as the quote, the former WWE World Champion coming out to surprise everybody. And then had that little short program with Seth Rollins. And unfortunately, at that match that happened, Seth got injured, but he managed to make it all the way back to WrestleMania before leaving. And I think Zion Quinn, I think how you pronounce his name, he was drafted. You've never seen him. And then you recently see the guy, and he gets squashed by Braun Breaker in seconds. The bell rings, Braun spears him, 1, 2, 3, it's all over with. And I'm like, seriously? Like, this guy's not showcasing at least something out of this match? And with Cameron Grimes is just an interesting story. because he got drafted. He did a little bit of stuff with Baron Corbin, and had a couple matches here and there, and then disappears for a whole year. And then he comes back, and guess what? Gets to the match with Braun. Braun destroys him. 1, 2, or 3, he's out. And what's shocking about that is, if you really look at that, Braun Breaker sent 2 wrestlers into the undeployment line. And Zion Lee is an interesting character because, sometimes you look at her as, something from Mortal Kombat in a way. But I think she had the ability to become something, but was never really given an opportunity. Of course, she had, a feud with Becky Lynch at one point, but then afterwards, these people you don't see anymore. And of course, those other releases, but they're just the 4 unique names. But what made me want to come to this episode on this podcast is the emotional heartbreak that Cameron Grimes sent out when he got the call that he was released, and it lit a fire in him to prove to WWE that what they did was not the right choice. And, he talked about how, a high executive actually told him, hey, you're all good. You're here for a long time. You ain't going away. But then it was just a straight-up lie. But how can you just release somebody without giving them a fair chance? I've seen Kevin Grimes wrestle in NXT. Phenomenal talent. He had the character that you can literally take from NXT and put onto SmackDown, I believe, is where he was drafted to. But no.
Yeah.
You wasted his talent for a full year, bring him back just to get squashed, and then release him. And there were some more releases that happened on the NXT side, but it could be understandable because on the NXT side, that's mainly because, people didn't progress in the ring. They just couldn't get to the expectations that WWE wants them to be at because these are actual athletes going into this, just couldn't get the grip. But with these first set of people, I heard budget cuts, they weren't doing nothing with them, or they couldn't progress in the ring, and it's just how are you going to release them when you are a multi-billion-dollar company and you have nothing for them? It makes no sense. And like I said, I want your opinion on this too, because I'm pretty sure you heard about it, but I did give you the idea of hey, let me come back on, let's talk about this.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're putting a lot of people, like you said, on the unemployment line, and it was 15, 20 people they released this time, something like that in total. And the NXT ones, they're still learning and stuff. They're trying to get better and do this the right way. I guess WWE just doesn't see the value in them, the value in putting that time in, because if you think about it, man, you got people like Baron Corbin, you got people like Braun Breaker, oh my gosh, Bianca Belair. None of those came from a wrestling background. None of those went on the indies or did anything like that. They were straight from their profession, which for Baron Corbin was professional football. For Braun Breaker, it was straight out of college football. And for Bianca, I think it was track and field. And they didn't have anything to do with the wrestling world before they came there, but WWE took the time and put into those people, saw value in them, and brought them up through the system, And look at them now; they're all former champions of one kind or another, But I don't understand, like you said, I don't, like you said before we got on here, I don't understand, how are you going to release all these people? I mean, there's so much talent. You're putting them on the unemployment line, and it doesn't make sense to me. You're a billion-dollar company, like you said, multi-billion-dollar company, and you have all the money in the world. You could pay somebody to make good stories for any of these people, or if you wanted to get them trained up quicker, you got plenty of money. You could put extra help towards individuals to help them out. And if it's a problem bringing people in, why don't you just work with what you got, If you want to get these bigger name people, like coming from a different company or something like that, cool. That's great. You're gonna have to somebody's gonna have to take a pay cut a little bit here or a little bit there or something, but you don't have to release anybody, you know. And even if they didn't want to give a story or something to Zion Quinn, man, they could give him matches on main event. They could give him matches back down in NXT. He could float between Raw and SmackDown as a jobber. They could have kept him on and had him working because he's a trained person in their system, much like a lot of other people. So I don't understand the thought process behind the releases. I thought we were done with this stuff whenever we got rid of VKM. You know what I mean? I thought it was all done. I didn't think we were going to be having multiple releases like we did back then every couple of months. And now I think, I don't know if you feel this way, but now it's kind of like we're waiting and watching to see if this is going to continue, if we're going to get more cuts like we've had in the past, or if this is a one-time thing.
I will say, though, when it comes to NXT, I think they're going to be regular because with NXT, the people that they released on that side were part of the program Next in Line, which is like the athletic backgrounds of different sports. And like you did mention a couple of people like Bianca Belair, Braun Breaker. Who else did you mention?
Baron
Corbin. And I think there was one. I think with them, it came natural to them. They learned a lot quicker than them because, like, we know what they're capable of. And with Braun Breaker, his family was born in the business doing this stuff. So with him, it would make more sense that it would come quicker to him, but he could also learn more from that. But like, it really is insane that they just, I don't know. It's just like they have their set people that they want to do stories with, and with anyone else, they're just out of luck. And here's the thing, like with how WWE is right now, there's a lot of injuries. Like a lot of your main event people are out. Like Drew's out, Punk's out, Rollins is out, Becky Lynch is out, and here's the thing: we don't know if Becky Lynch is coming back to WWE or not because she still hasn't come up with an agreement with WWE yet, and I think she has like 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks left, if I recall right. But she might be gone. We don't know. But like I said, you got the list just goes on, and when your main stars are out, who's going to step up? You don't know. Why? Because people that have been waiting for an opportunity never get that opportunity. And then when they come out to do something, the fans are not interested because they don't know who they are. But if you put them on regularly, once in a while, then maybe they'll get used to them and actually either decide if they like them or hate them. Like, I just don't know. Like, I really did thought that this was all over with, but I feel like it was going to be a continuous thing. Definitely for NXT, because from what I've heard in reports, it will be a yearly thing because they will check everyone's progress, and if they don't meet the progress that they want them to be, they are out. So that's why you have to learn very quickly and stick to it, because if you're falling behind just by just a tiny bit, you are out the door. But they do have. I have seen some highlight reels or some segments that NXT put out, and there are some people from different athletic backgrounds that are exceeding right now, which is a good thing. But we'll see what happens. But the one thing that is crazy too is I watched the Chris Van Vliet did the interview with Jinder Mahal. Yeah, this was before he got released. You want to know what his plans were in for the future? He wanted to become he wanted to be the Grand Slam champion. He wanted to win the Intercontinental Championship and win the tag titles with Indashir. And the sad part about that is it's not happening now because he's out and his Indashir tag teammates are out as well. And
the thing that I'm thinking about is, man, as weekend warriors, like a lot of us are that do the wrestling thing that are on the independent scene, we have the luxury of having another job. throughout the week that we can work. But for WWE, this is the top of the level. This is their only job. I mean, you're cutting their paycheck off completely, you know, whether it's just for that 90-day no compete or whatever, it doesn't matter, you know. It doesn't really matter as long as they're getting them, they're cutting them, they're losing a paycheck, they're losing their money, man. You know, they got bills to pay just like any of us do. And that's like 20 people that now worry about what they're going to be doing next, or have to go and search for something to do next, or plan or schedule. It doesn't matter if it's a worldwide platform or not. In my eyes, you know, yeah, there's going to be people around. Hey, come to my show, but that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is they got to find something to do. They got to find some way of a feasible income for them to have, you know, where they can support their own lives. And if they have kids and family as well, man, I mean, God, dude, that's getting taken away with this as well. And I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine that being my income and then them saying, you know what, you're just not doing good enough for us. Get out, you know?
Or be like, oh, we got nothing for you, so we're releasing you. And to put that on top of it, 90 days non-complete clause. I hate that because these are people that need a job as soon as possible, and you giving them a 90-day non-complete clause. I never get that. Like, if I was like I said, we're in a new era. There should be no non-complete clauses anymore. If anything, make it a 30-day non-complete clause. Because 90 days, that's just too much. Because that's 3 months that you're out of a job. And that is 3 months where, like, you got to pay rent for stuff like power bill, internet bill, water bill, the whole 9 yards. Like, yeah. It just doesn't make sense. And like I said, I do believe that some of these people that we have said, they're definitely are going to get jobs either in AEW or TNA, or New Japan Pro Wrestling. But let's face it, I'd rather for them to go to either TNA or New Japan. But if there was one person I would love to see go to AEW, is Jinder Mahal, only because Tony Khan was talking crap to him on X, aka Twitter, where he was comparing him and Hook as challengers. And like I said, that was where Jinder Mahal was getting some actual support with the Don't Hinder Jinder. And let me tell you something. Don't Hinder Jinder is going to be a big thing when he's available once his non-complete cost is out. But he's definitely going to get picked up. But it would be interesting for him to go AEW, but I would prefer him not to go AEW. And just in my honest opinion, because there's a lot. Like, let's be honest. The last time we talked, a lot of things have happened with AEW, and we can talk about that for the whole entire podcast. But let's just let that slide by because it's
gonna
too
let it
much
sit.
right
We're
now.
gonna take it from right here and just sit it over here and just not even think about it.
No, because I've heard what Jim Cornette has to say about it. I've heard what Eric Bischoff has to say about it. It's just like, it's not even worth my time right now because we can talk a lot about what's going on right now, and it's just not worth it right now. Not to say I don't like AEW, but there's more important things we can talk about.
Definitely. You know, I hope and pray for all the best for these people that have been released, you know, in their future. Not to steal the line that they get on the paper, but for their future endeavors. You know, I hope they have all the best luck getting to shows and being able to have this life that they need to have. You know, to be able to get the money that they need to be able to support their life, their dreams, and their families or whatever. So my prayers and love goes to them, man, because they absolutely need it and deserve it. Switching subjects, though, man. On one of the last episodes, I was at a South Central Wrestling live show, and I got a little talk with you. That was really cool getting to talk to you with your game face on. It was completely different than right now, which is saying something, you know. But I did notice, I caught the tail end of this little argument, this little spat that you and Drayshawn Prince were having, man. I didn't understand what that was or where that came from, but maybe you can enlighten me to what exactly is going on.
Well, let's face it. the last time we were ever in a match together, he kicked me in the face. Very first thing. And he wants to talk about how, like, oh, I'm pretty sure you was going to try to take the championship from me, yada, yada, yada. But let's just be honest. I had two choices. Either I take back what was stolen from me 2 years ago from that point in time, or I'll be the better man and give my best friend, and I mean my best friend, the opportunity to keep the championship and be on a phenomenal title reign. And let's face it, he is one of the best that South Central Wrestling has to offer.
Definitely.
But with that being said, like I said, my whole thought was, you know what? I'm going to be the better man. I'm going to help him try to win this, retain the belt. And we'll go on our merry way as a full unit. But when he kicked me in my face, all that went down the toilet. I knew from right then and there, screw Drayshawn Prince, and I'm going to win that belt back. And at the very end, I won it back. But I will give Drayshawn credit. He did have a phenomenal title reign. He put on some of the best matches that South Central Wrestling did offer on the table. But it all went down the toilet when he kicked me in my face. But I will say, like, in my heart, I still love him like a brother, but I hate his guts after he kicked me in my face because he really broke my heart. And the fact that he decided to go to the heavyweight division really makes me mad because he wasn't man enough to declare a rematch for that championship against me. That was literally on the table, but he decided to run like the coward he was and go to the heavyweights. Now, it seems like he is succeeding in the heavyweights, but the thing is, I'm the champion, and he decided to run away from me. So what could that say? He couldn't hang with me, or he didn't want to fight me. Like, literally, we could have had a one-on-one match years and years ago, but things happened. I had to go to the hospital. It was a life or death situation. And even when I had to go to that hospital, when he became the investment Drayshawn Prince, he didn't care if I was in the hospital. He just thought he should have been the champion then and there. But, we decided to talk about that issue. Everything went well, and then we became the talent agency. But yeah, he wanted to talk crap about me. I was talking crap back to him, and I was just being straight up honest with him. Like, you went away from the fight that everyone would have loved to see, and we'll never get it now because I'm in the cruiserweight division. He's in heavyweights, so if he wants to play with the big boys, he can. But in the cruiserweights, we're also the big boys too, because we are here to make the best matches possible in the cruiserweight division. And this Saturday, I'll go round 2 with Sebastian Envy, and I'll prove to Drayshawn Prince that he missed out on an opportunity for that championship.
Man, I don't know. Like I told you at the show, man, y'all two are both, some of my favorite wrestlers in South Central, man. Top 2 probably. I know a lot of the wrestlers there because obviously I've worked South Central before. My first 3 matches, and never had a bad experience there or anything. But you two guys are some of the top upper echelon of South Central Wrestling's roster. I love watching both of you work. And it turns out you won your match against Gaston that night. He won his match as well. I mean, is there a chance, do you think, is there a chance that you think possibly, did I say something incorrect?
Let's just be honest. Yeah, I won the match, but I didn't win it the way I wanted to win because Gaston couldn't handle the pressure and decided to crack my skull with a steel chair. And let me tell you something, I was in severe pain. Like, words can't describe how much pain I was in. I've been hit with brass knuckles to the skull. I've been hit with a chair multiple times now. I've taken so much head damage in South Central Wrestling that I can't even recall most of them now, except for very few key injuries. And I'm getting tired of being hit in the head with objects. And that's going to change really soon. Because the next time I get hit in the head with any object, someone is going to pay the price in a very, very bad way. But I did win. And even though it's not how I wanted to win, a W is still a W. We dust stuff, we get it up, we get focused, and then we go to the next one. And that's all you can do. It's not my fault the guy couldn't. It's not my fault the guy couldn't handle the sickness because he started to call me the plague. The sickness was too much for him, so he had to take the wrong approach to try to win the belt, and it cost him.
Man. Well, I'm just saying, y'all both won at that event. Y'all both won your match at that event. So is there a chance in the future we could see that match that you had offered him a while back, Dre Sean versus Troy Twain, even in some sort of exhibition competition? Because I know that's one, like I said, the fans would definitely, including myself, would definitely love to see that match.
It all comes down to if he's man enough and if, South Central Wrestling wants to put that on the table. But until then, he's just not going to be man enough to do it. I do hope for the best for him, but here's the thing. He's trying to earn a championship opportunity, and I got a championship that I'm trying to retain every time I'm in South Central Wrestling.
I understand that, man. I understand that, I'm very happy that I got to go to see that show. That was the first show I've seen for South Central Wrestling. I can't remember when the last one was. It's been a little while, but I'm very happy that I got the chance to go to that, be able to get interviews with you guys. I got to see all kinds of great people and talk to all kinds of great people, and it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you letting me get an interview with you before the show even started, and then I appreciate at the your booth, your table, with all of your merch. I appreciate you giving me the chance to talk to you at that point as well, man. It means a lot, man, because some people probably wouldn't even allow that, So I appreciate the hell out of that. But
anytime, even though we did that interview, had the perfect first interview, but you forgot your mics.
Yeah,
you forgot the mics. Like I thought you was a professional, my man. I thought you was professional.
Even professionals stumble a little bit at times, Got to check the acoustics at times to make sure things work, and I just didn't do it. So that's definitely on me, my friend.
Hey, you know what? I'll let it slide. It's your first actual wrestling event to go to doing interviews, so I'll let it slide. But remember, I'm the champion. We're supposed to do things in one take, not multiple.
That's it. Well, I'll make sure I get it done better next time, champ. Next time I come to a show. You brought up to me something else that you wanted to talk about, this BHW Winter Games? What the hell is this? Explain it to everybody who hasn't checked it out.
Okay, so I do want to put in a full disclosure. What I'm about to say are 100% honest feelings about this particular event. I am not trying to, break any friendships. I'm not here to hurt anybody or make anybody mad. Everything I'm about to say will sound controversial, but it's just how I felt in that moment. So, without being said, January 8th, 2022, a new promotion had came out called Best Hybrid Wrestling, and the owner of that promotion is none other than the Man Spider. And he decided that he wanted to introduce a championship belt called the BHW Seasonal Games Championship, where all different types of individuals from different states that are going to be wrestling for the promotion will come out and have a legitimate competition doing all sorts of challenges from, taking BB shots to the chest, throwing stuff in barrels, running around the whole entire compound. But it was 14 challenges, and he wanted me to come in because at that point of time, I was going by the everyday challenger Troy Twain. It's challenge yourself every day. Sounds like something cool to come and compete in this set of challenges that are being brought up to us. And we are doing 14 challenges. And I got there, and this was all going on in Oklahoma. I forgot exactly where, but I got there. I was doing all of these challenges, and I will say that majority of all these challenges I've done, I have dominated. And I mean dominated for the individual parts. And in each episode, and you can all see these episodes on Best Hyper Wrestling. The YouTube page is still up. You can watch all the episodes from episode 1 all the way to 7, and then the next episode presents the winner. And the reason why I say things got controversial is episode 5, we got to the point to where we were doing 2 more challenges. And after those 2 challenges, we would have done up to 10 challenges. We did all the tally points, and I've been in first place since episode 2, and I think the 2 people that were the main concerns for what happened at the end, I believe I was like maybe between 16 to 18 points ahead of them. So I had a big lead going into the last challenges. What's controversial about after episode 5 is episode 6 and 7 were posted, but you could no longer see the polls because apparently they didn't want to give away the winner. And so when you think about it, you don't know what points you get. And to this day, I never know what points I got with the last 4 challenges. And basically how the scoring works, if you win a challenge, you get 10 points. But if you didn't win the challenge, you are being scored based on the performance you did by judges. So the challenges that I didn't win, mostly when it came to individual challenges, I would get no less than 8 points. So I was getting 8 points, 9 points. I won at least 3 challenges, even though there's a 4th challenge I should have won. Well, technically I did win. It's just that instead of giving me the 10 points, they gave me 9 points. And I asked about why I didn't get the full 10 points, was because I guess a certain individual did this challenge again and wound up going into thorn bushes. And that challenge was a blindfold race, I guess you could say. But, it is what it is. But the last 4 challenges we did the run across the compound. I got 3rd place, and of course the winner gets 10 points. Spire was in 2nd place, so I assumed that he got 9 points, and I was in 3rd, and I got 8 points. So from that point on, it's like, okay, well, it's good to me, because that means my lead will be like I'm still ahead by like 16. And then we get down to doing what's called the hangout. So basically, we are grabbing a hold of a bar and just hanging on for as long as possible. I wasn't in the top 3, But the way that I would have scored myself on that was I probably would have given myself 6 points. But I didn't know what my time was. But the way I did it is I kept a straight face, didn't showcase I was in pain or anything, and I dropped, and that was it.
You no-sold it.
Well, I guess you could say definitely no-sold it. And then we get to the next challenge, and I'm gonna be straight up honest. It's called tug the rope. So like pulling, you know how two people will pull the rope, and if you cross the line, you're basically out and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way they did it is, we had these popsicle sticks, and the way that the teams were decided was if you had a dot, you was on this team. If you didn't have a dot, you was on the other team. And unfortunately, my team, the team I was in, it was me, another guy, and then the only two girls that were in this competition of this whole entire time. On the other side, it was Spider, Jet. Like Spider and Jet were the two people that I was concerned for when it comes to like the trying to finish the game. They also had two firefighters, and they also had a big guy. But since we had a disadvantage with one person, we decided to take the big guy out. But as soon as we pulled the ropes, I was in front because like I'm the strongest out of everyone else. So I guess it only made sense for me to try to pull. But as soon as we went go, not even 5 seconds, and my whole team just got wiped out. So the way I would score that is, of course, the winning team gets 10 points, but I don't know how they would have scored us. But since it was heavily a disadvantage because the teams were definitely uneven, it was definitely not fair. But luck of the stick, I guess. But even though it should have been more balanced to make it more interesting, but it was getting late that night, so it is what it is. So I would have just assumed, just out of respect, we all would have gotten 5 points. Out of respect. And then we get to the last challenge, which was called Pop the Question. Now, before this whole entire event started, I asked Spider, Spider gave me some ideas on some challenges that was going to happen. And apparently, like, the question aspect challenge for this was supposed to be common sense questions. And what happened was, like, apparently everyone was supposed to have 3 lives. But there was 4 of us who had an extra life because during the run, we were told, like, there were 4 blue, handkerchiefs. And if you get one of those handkerchiefs, you get an extra balloon. So you have 4 lives in total. Me, Jet had 4 lives, and Spider had 3 lives. And I just want your honest opinion because I'm about to read you out the questions that I've got, what Jet got, and the only question that Spider got, but he did get another question right. They just fast forwarded. I want you to tell me if these were common sense questions or not. So, and like I said, give me your honest opinion. What does CPR stand for? Common sense question or not common sense?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. This is the next question I got when it was my turn. And also, if you get a question wrong or don't answer it at all, you lose your life. But if you get a question right, you get to pop someone else's balloon. And here's the next one that I got. How many bones are in the human body? Common sense or not common sense?
Nope.
So those were only 2 questions I got. Lost both of them, and then of course, 2 people got the questions right, and I got eliminated from those. And I was the 3rd person out of the 2 people that were the concerns for the winning championship opportunity. Now, Jet, and here's the thing, like, the first 4 people that were asked questions, they were all questions related to, like, what does this stand for? So Jet got this question for stand for. What does Wi-Fi stand for? Common sense or not?
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. And here's the next one. How many feet are in a mile? Common sense or not?
No.
Now, and like I said, I didn't think so either. Because if you really think about it, the two questions I got, those are like health and science questions. That's not going to be something that the common person knows.
Yeah.
And with the Wi-Fi, with like I said, with the Wi-Fi thing, that's something like ain't no one going to know that. That's like to me, that's a science question or just an internet question in general. No one's not going to know that. Especially with how
Yeah.
many feet are in a mile. That's a mathematical question. That's a like that. It was like 5,000 something, but Jet wasn't even close. And the question that
Yeah.
Spire got, now this one, of course, it's common sense because like if you don't know this, then what's going on? But what does pre-K stand for? Common sense or not?
Common sense.
Yes, because everybody knows that pre-K stands for pre-kindergarten. And of course, like I said, he was asked another question, but they fast forwarded. But like literally, they got like, when was America founded? That's a common sense question because like everyone should know when it was founded. Someone got the question of what is Popeyes the Sailor Man's favorite food, and who is the first Prince of Bel Air? Like there were some common sense questions, but there were other questions that were not common sense, like name the color of the rainbows in order, name all four of the Pac-Man ghosts, name the three mascots for Rice Krispie. Like there were questions that just does not say common sense, in my honest opinion.
How do
And
you go about saying that this is common sense? It's like, what year was the microwave made? This is common sense, people. Come on. Come on, you know this. You know the answer to this question. Just tell me. You know, how big is the radius of a tire? An average car tire. How big is the radius of that? This is common sense, people. Come on, everyone knows this. You know, it doesn't make sense. You don't throw random crap at the wall and just be like, this is all common sense. Unless
well,
they were planning it one certain way, you know, unless they were planning the outcome to come out one way.
Brian, our referee, was the one who read the questions. Like I said, I have nothing against him. He's the referee. He's just reading what is in front of him. But like
Right.
I said, the questions that I've heard and the questions that I definitely there was like some questions that were definitely not common sense, and there were some that were common sense. But what I got was not common sense. And Spider,
Right.
like I said, Spider gave me the idea that they were common sense questions. So it's just like, okay, so like as I stated, it's like, you know, when's America founded? Because like it's America. Like everyone should know when it was founded. Like I know it's a
Yeah.
history question, but that's definitely common sense in my personal opinion. But how many bones are in the human body? Who's gonna know that? We like, come on. And here's the thing: like I've been out of school I graduated 2017, so that was like when that happened. It was well over 5 years that I was out of school. So it's just like it just seemed like there was definitely a disadvantage for some people. Like I get that things are supposed to be hard and stuff, but like, come on, like you got to start out with some easy questions at first, and then kick it up a notch. But I ain't gonna know what CPR stands for, and I'm not gonna know how many bones are in the human body. But like I said, like Jet was the first one out of that competition, and then Spy was the second one out of that competition. Then it was me out with 3. But the way I totaled the points, in my honest opinion, is that at the end, with how I thought I would have guessed who had the total points at that point, was I had probably 104 points. I would be the only competitor to be over triple digits. I had Spider at 98 and Jet at 95. But like I said, I was kind of worried because it's just like I feel like there were points where I thought I did bad, but if I was scoring myself, I would have given me some justifiable scores and stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man.
But like I said, but then we get to like the episode where they were showcasing the winner, and then they said like it was up to these three people of who was going to win: myself, Spider, and Jet. And when they announced that Jet won, I was honestly devastated because it's just like I don't get how he beat me. Like I don't understand how this dude beat me, or if anything, if Spy would have won, I probably would have been surprised too because it just did not make sense. I was one of the main people that dominated most of these challenges and had a really good score. And the fact that I've never, like I said, when they announced the winner, they didn't show us the final poll of who all got these points and stuff. And to this day, I never saw it. I never saw it on Facebook. I never saw it on YouTube. It was never explained. Yeah. So when I didn't win, I decided that I didn't want to go to the spring games because that would have been the next seasonal games. And the thing is, the spring games never was posted on that YouTube page. And come to find out, Ducky, who was one of the competitors and one of the referees of that competition, I met up with him at the last VCW show I was at, and he even agreed that I should have won the championship. And when they went out and did the seasonal games, they had done the whole thing. All the recordings and the tapes for that whole entire season was gone. So it never was a thing. And I don't think they've ever done a seasonal game ever since. And that was like 2 years ago. So the Winter Games was the only thing where it was recorded and it happened. Yeah. And like I said, and I thought, okay, you know what? It was on my mind. Maybe they had posted the final point system on their Facebook page a long time ago, and I never saw it. But the thing is, the Best Hyped Wrestling page for YouTube is still up, but the Facebook page is gone. It is completely gone. It's like it never exists. And like I said, on my old wrestling page, I went back to the post that I made promoting it, and I know they reacted to it. And when I went to go check to see who reacted to it, then their name doesn't pop up. So my only estimate guess is that someone deleted it. And I don't know. It's just I think I'll be honest when I say this. 22 was the worst year of my wrestling career, in my honest opinion. And when I lost the Winter Games, and like I said, I don't see how I lost. I'm pretty sure I should have been the winner. I felt like it was rigged. And I felt like I put all my hard work and dedication to give the best performance, and I felt like I earned the belt. But it's just like how, it's like how wrestling has always been. We decide who wins, we decide who loses, and I felt like there was a decision to put the belt on somebody else and not put it on who actually won the actual championship in the first place. Yeah. And like I said, there was a post that my girlfriend told me that I think Spider wants to bring back the seasonal games. And if that's the case, if he does, oh well, but I personally don't want to do the seasonal games ever again, because when I did not earn what I thought I earned, it was the start of the worst year of 2022. The year where I honestly wanted to stop wrestling altogether and just be done with wrestling. but I was the
Yeah.
better man and decided to push myself to keep going, and look where I am today. Um,
Exactly.
but it was the one true belt I thought I actually earned and won, but this wasn't in the books, I guess.
I
It's just
guess
like
not,
anything
man.
else. But
Hey,
as I
but you you are the only two-time cruiserweight champion currently, correct?
that is correct.
All right. And then I know last time we were talking about the five-way dance match you had at VCW coming up, and now it's already passed. And I wasn't able to go to that show, but I did see the results. What was your prep like going into that?
Well, I went in as a well. When I know I was in this championship match, I did what I always do. I worked my tail off in the gym and just studying my opponents and just was promoting the match and the event as much as I can to promote myself over, promote my opponents over, but also tell them that I'm going to beat their tails. And then just let people know that there's a big thing going on for VCW when it comes to the new standard. And I really put in so much effort into this because I honestly felt like that night was my night. That was the night I'm finally going to be winning my first championship outside of my home promotion. Something that I truly believe I've earned. And as we go into that, as the times go by, getting closer to that matchup, there were people that were put out of the match. So, like I said, I went from a 5-way match, and then it became a 4-way match because C.J. Jenkins decided to pull out, and then it became a 4-way, fatal 4-way, but it's not a elimination match anymore. It is a no disqualification, no countout match, and the way that I describe it is a straight up bar fight. So it was going to be me versus Jimmy Buffet. It was going to be William J. Blackwell versus Wade Matthews. And it comes to find out Wade Matthews can't make it. And then William J. Blackwell couldn't make it. And it felt like a bad nightmare because I did so much promoting for this match, and also originally Spire was supposed to be in this match too, but he couldn't make it before the match was made official. So I had to throw that out there. But the fact that legitimately 4 out of the 6 original competitors that were supposed to fight for this belt was out of the picture, it felt like all my hard work and dedication just went down the toilet. Now, like I said, even though they decided to duck on me because I believe that's what happened, they couldn't handle what was going to happen when I stepped in that ring. There's always going to be an opportunity to now focus on different people and also just focus on winning the belt. And so that day, I got into that match with myself, Jimmy Buffet, and 2 new opponents because it was going to stay a fatal 4-way. So we had 2 new opponents by the name of Jackson Palace. Not sure how to pronounce his name. I'm just going to call him Mad Max Reject 1. And the other guy is called Atticus Wiley. I guess he's some kind of artist. I don't know. But like I said, I got into that match. I got hit in the head a few times, but at this point I've been hit in the head so much it doesn't hurt me anymore. I got hit in the back a few times. Like I said, we used weapons. I landed on all 3 competitors, and after I jumped on all 3 competitors, I grabbed one of the guys, Jackson, to be precise, threw him in there, was throwing everything I got to put this guy away. And then I hit him in the knee. And in my mind, I just won the belt. 6 years of hard work and dedication, everything lined up for that moment. I go for the pin, and some random Mad Max reject number 2 comes into the ring and takes it from me. So now I am being ganged up by 2 guys. I fight them off with as much ability as I could, and some bald-headed, orange shirt wearing Oompa Loompa decides to hit me in my back. And then I get banged up a couple more times, and I was just out. I was out, and by the time I fully recuperated, Jimmy Buffett won the match and won the championship. And I'm literally sitting there watching him getting the interview. I'm watching him bring out all of his mentors, his friends, family. Everyone was there loving it. And I'm just watching, devastated, heartbroken, and to this day, I can't get over it. Because I felt like I should have won it. Like I said, when I said everything was lined up, and one person screws it for you, I had the flashbacks of when a promoter screwed me out of a match to win the championship himself, losing another championship to Spider from a different promotion, and then losing the belt of a seasonal games that I should have won, but it was taken away from me. All these memories are just come back, and I always think to myself, maybe I'm just not good enough to be a champion for another company. Maybe I'm just the best in one promotion. I am not the best in other promotions at all. And I respect Jimmy, love him to death, but he is the false champion, and I am the true champion. He can have the championship for as long as he wants, but I'm planning on taking it back. I'm planning on taking what was stolen from me, because that is my belt. That is my championship. And in July, we're going to have Meltdown. And one way or another, I'm going to get an answer. And if I don't get an answer that I like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to physically harm people. I don't care anymore. I am tired of being screwed over and over again. I'm going rogue. I'm going to start hurting people. And if I don't get my championship opportunity back, as stated, people are going to get hurt. And it's out of respect. But I'm done being screwed over. VCW needs to give me an answer.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You know, as I can see that you are enveloped in character right now. I want to go to the last little section of what we usually do at the end of the episode. And you know the drill. Everybody else knows the drill. But I would like for, if you can, answer your question completely enveloped as Troy Twain. So for me, most of the time, it doesn't change that much. The 3 things are my support system, my guests, and my God. Because for one, I need a support system that's going to be there for me and have my back and all the shit that I do. Number two, if it wasn't for you guys showing up, I would just be talking to myself, and that's a pretty boring show. So I very much appreciate everybody who chooses to come on the show, including yourself, the current only two-time cruiserweight champion for South Central Wrestling, one of the very best to do it. And the third thing, if I didn't have God, man, I wouldn't be here, and nothing would be possible for me to do. So those are my three things. So Troy Twain, the current South Central Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion, if I could be so bold, my tribal chief, if I could be so bold to ask you, what are three things that the champ is grateful for in this very moment?
As always, one thing I'm grateful for, it's always going to be the same thing over and over again. I am grateful that I have a family that supports what I do and will always have my back through the bad times and good times, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing stuff like this to this day. Second, even though I've had a lot of screw-ups in my wrestling career, I'm still grateful that I've gotten opportunities that maybe I never would have gotten with somebody else. But people looked up to me and gave me an opportunity to prove them wrong. Even though opportunities were stolen from me when I didn't win those championships, I've always still came back up, dust off, and got ready for the next one. And the third one is I am grateful for the opportunity that I've had for VCW. Even though I lost the championship, it's a learning experience. That night that Jimmy Buffet won the belt has changed something inside of me. And it's basically, I'm now having to evolve into something that I don't want to go to, but I had to go to it just to get what I want. And I love VCW management. They've always done a great job with me, but give me the one grateful thing that you can do for me, and that is give me another shot at the VCW Heavyweight Championship.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Anything coming up in the near future and any kind of social media you want to plug before we get off of here?
As always, this Saturday, May Mania is happening for South Central Wrestling out in Mount Pine, Arkansas, where I will defend my SCW Cruiserweight Championship against Sebastian Envy. This will be our second encounter in South Central Wrestling. I beat him the first time, and I plan on beating him for the second time. He thinks that he's going to leave me on the cutting room floor. Well, you said that the first time, and I made you tap out. And, of course, for July, I will be hopefully getting some answers for VCW at Meltdown and Hot Springs, Arkansas at Boogie's Bar and Grill. It should be July 13th when that event happens. But if not, I will always update you guys on the current dates when it comes to my other social medias, mainly my Facebook, which is called The Troy Twain. I'm getting close to going back over, I think, 100 followers or 100 likes. So definitely want to get back in the 100 category again. And if you guys are ever wanted to see what I do when it comes to the gym, I do have a Instagram, and I think it's called Detroit Fitness. And that may be incorrect, but I think if you put in Detroit Fitness, you might see me. But other than that, the books are open for opportunities out there.
Right on, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on yet again, champ. I appreciate you even more reaching out to me and asking to come on, because that's a rarity in this thing, having somebody say, hey, bring me on. I've had you do that this time, and I had a guy that I talked to just recently, Josh Vallon, that reached out to me as well. He's on the East Coast wrestling. But had these people have you and him reach out for me. It means so much for anybody to say, "Hey, can I come on your show and talk?" Yeah, of course you can. It's always awesome having you on, though, Troy. So, man, I appreciate the hell out of you coming on, dude.
Oh, I've always loved coming on and being a part of this. And like I said, this time it was definitely different because after the Cameron Grimes heartbreaking video of him talking about being released, I just thought that maybe this is something we can talk about because I feel like this is always a recurring problem with WWE. I wish it could be fixed, but the thing is, WWE will do what they think is best for WWE. And for people that get released, don't be heartbroken. Just get up, dust off, get back at it again, and prove to WWE that they made the wrong choice and that they will have to do whatever they can to bring you back.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Well, thank you for coming on, man. It means the world to me, and we'll have to get you back on again sometime.
Oh, definitely. As I've always said, I'm always glad to come back anytime, talk about anything. It could be wrestling, could be video games, could be movies, could be a cow jumping over the moon. Who knows?
Who knows, man? But thank you, man. Have a great rest of your night. I'm gonna let you get back to doing what you're doing because it's kind of later at the time of recording. But I'll let you get back to relaxing or doing whatever, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you.
Man, he had a lot to talk about, and I'm very happy that he decided to come on and to ask me if he could come on again and talk about the releases and talk about other things he has coming up. It's awesome to have people want to come on the show, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for everybody tuning in right now. But as far as this week goes, this is it. We are done with this week in the world of the Adam Talks podcast. Stay tuned next week. We got some big name people coming on. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. Just stick with me, guys. Trust me, you're going to absolutely love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So never forget to always listen when Adam talks. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, or night whenever you're tuning into this, and we will see you very, very soon on another episode of the Adam Talks podcast.